today we're taking a look at something that's really awesome. You guys already clicked the video, you've already seen what it was. It is the Figma Doomslayer. I have not reviewed a Figma figure before. The only one I've reviewed was like the Reaper. And that's like the only Figma figure I've ever like owned before. But this would be my second, and I am super excited to show you guys this figure. I've had this figure for a while, and I've been meaning to review them, but I just haven't, so I think might as well just do it now. And I am excited to get into this. I cannot wait to show you guys what he's got. It might be a little longer video. Usually it's not, but I want to kind of show you what the accessories, showing you the accessories and stuff. So that might take a little bit, but we're just gonna get right into it. That's all we're gonna do. We're gonna get right into this shit, and yeah, that's all I gotta say. Let's review this guy. So starting off with the packaging, as we always do, it's nothing interesting. In the front, there's like the window right here that you're supposed to see the Slayer in. It does have a pretty interesting look of the figure right there, which is pretty cool. Doomslayer icon, Figma, and some little numbers and stuff, the product number and all that stuff. See, it does have another picture of the Doomslayer holding the chainsaw. On the side, he's got that iconic Doom Eternal pose. And then on this side, he's holding the BFG, which is super cool. And he's got his own picture of the chainsaw again, that's on the same as the top. You can see that there's a lot of different stuff you can do with this figure. He definitely is very posable, so that's like really cool. But it kind of shows you what he comes with, what the kind of stuff you can do with him. And shows him with the little whatever that is. I don't remember what that's called. It's like the tinier version. It's almost like the minis, but not really. There's a name for it. I just don't remember what it is. But that's basically all that. It's got a bunch of warning and legal info, just kind of here at the bottom. But yeah, that's basically the box. Alright, so here are all the accessories laid out, and there is a fuck ton. There is a lot of accessories to go through. He also comes with a little bag to store your accessories, which I think is really cool. There's a blank spot here where you can kind of like write who the character is and who the accessories go to, and I think that's really cool. What is cool though is the stand as well. If you remember, the Reaper did come with the stand, but the stand was nowhere near this size. And I love the stand. It's so cool. It is basic, it is like this clear plastic. You can see right through it. It says Figma, some stuff right here, which, can be a little boring, but I feel like you can probably, paint your own design, which honestly, I'm kind of like tempted to do. Which it is cool, but, you can take off the little hook here and put it on any one of these little holes here. I usually have it in the back because I like to have the figure on the stand. But there is kind of a swivel at the bottom. There is a hinge joint here, a hinge joint in the middle, and a hinge joint on top. And for more flight poses, they give you this little connector piece, which goes at the end of this, and it kind of gives, I guess, the figure a little bit more stability when you're doing aerial poses. And it's a lot better angle to actually plug it into, but we'll show you that later on. So let's get through this. I think the stand is really cool. I do like how big it is. He does come with an array of accessories, so let's try and make sure this camera doesn't fall that much. And let's start off with the basic stuff. So first of all, he does of course come with his shoulder cannon, which I think is beautifully sculpted, beautifully painted. It's very different from the one we got with the McFarlane one, which I'll kind of compare in a little bit, but you do come with that. There also is a connector piece, which sadly for mine, this piece right here broke off, so I had to glue that on. So it does kind of suck, but I hope that doesn't really hinder anything, which it shouldn't. But there is two different types of these little clips, which go on the side right here. And this one, basically, you plug this into, I should have done the cannon first. So you plug this part into the actual blaster itself, and then you plug in the peg, and this is supposed to be like the retracted version of the shoulder cannon. So this is like not in like battle mode, so this is kind of just like neutral for the shoulder cannon, which I think is really cool. So if we gently, I do not want to break the thing. It was a tedious little process. It was honestly probably the easiest fix I've done, but you know, I still want to be really careful. I do not want to injure the figure anymore. And with this one, it's a bit of a longer kind of display part. So if you have it on the peg, you can easily use it for more action poses, like this is ready to be used. And I think that is really cool. Do really like that it comes with two of them. I love the neutral one. That was one of the things that I kind of wish that the McFarlane one did, because it didn't really look right just having it kind of, you know, folded in how I had it. But I think this is beautiful. I love how it came with that. With some of the other weapons, he does come with two different versions of his wrist blade. He's got the retracted one, which is beautifully done. I love the gunmetal gray look to it, and I love just like overall the detailing is just beautiful, and it is pretty sharp as well, so don't cut yourself. I think that is really cool, and there also does come with a retracted version as well. I think that is beautiful. I love the way that looks. I am so glad that the figure comes with two different types of the weapons that can be retracted, you know, and I think this is just really cool. It gives it a lot more posability options. I think that's really cool. Basic weapon, he does come with the super shotgun. Almost every single Doomslayer figure is going to come with the super shotgun, and I will say this is a beautiful version of the shotgun itself. I love the detailing, the sculpting work is awesome. I love the meat hook. I think that's so cool. I think it would have been cool if you could like take this whole piece off and you can connect it with like another meat hook piece, because you know we're spoiled with this. Might as well go all the way. Make this come off, and you can plug in like a chain, like a posable chain, and so you can have it like he's hooking it onto a demon or something. I think that would have been really cool. But you can see the detailing is really nice. But yeah, I think that'd be my only complaint, just to make it a little different from, you know, the other Slayers that we've gotten. Because, you know, McFarlane, you give it the same super shotgun every single time, and I think it just would have been a little nice to have. But I think that would just be a little too spoily, you know, spoiling us a little bit more. But spoiling us a little bit more, we also get his chainsaw, and it looks absolutely sick. I love the way that looks. You can see it has some detailing right there. It's got the dope saw figure of that little guy. I don't remember what his name is. I know he's from Commander Keen though. But the detailing is just absolutely gorgeous. I love the painting and the sculpting and the weathering. It's just so cool. And I absolutely love the way it looks. I think it's just beautiful. I love how it kind of just extends up. I love the chain parts as well. They're not sharp, so you don't have to worry about it as much as the wrist blades, but I think that is a dope accessory. Another dope accessory is the BFG. Now it is a little bit heavy, but honestly it's more on the soft side because it's like more kind of hollow plastic, but I think it just looks beautiful. It's such an awesome super shotgun. I love the way it looks. It's painted very nicely. I do just love it's big too, and fitting it into his hand is a bit of a struggle, you know, just to kind of get it posed right. But I think this is just awesome. I love the way that looks. It's so cool. And yeah, I think that this is a beautiful accessory to have for any Doomslayer. And another thing that I really do like is the Crucible. The Crucible is very nicely done. I love the paint job on the handle. I think that's so cool. I love the mark of the Slayer, the kind of brown handle piece right here, the gunmetal gray. I think that's just so cool. And I love the clear red plastic with all the marks on it, which looks so cool. I just love this piece. This is a great looking piece and a beautiful looking sword. And I just love posing him with this thing. It's so cool. He also does come with a variety of hands. He's got a little thumbs up hand, which is only on his right hand, which I do really like. It's a really cool little accessory here. He does come with a pair of hands that are specifically for the sword. You can kind of tell, because if you grab like just a regular hand, you see that it's like kind of, you know, fully sculpted and stuff, but you can see there is a weird gap, a little ravine inside his hand. That's to make the blade a little bit more easier to slide into his hand, and I love that. That is so cool. And yeah, I'm really glad that they gave us that. The next little pair of hands that we get is some fist hands, which is pretty nice. I do like basic fist hands. The next pair of hands is kind of more grabby hands, I guess, but the fingers itself, I believe, are stuck together, so you can just slide something in there if you wanted, but I think that's really cool. This is the one that's confused me the most, because these two hands are for the right hand. I just think that they're made for different reasons. I think one of them is for the BFG and the one of them's for the super shotgun, or one of them's for the chainsaw and one of them's for another one. I don't know, it's hard to tell, but they're basically the same hand, just one seems a little bit more wider than the other. So that's just kind of what I'm thinking, that's what it is. He does come with two other hands as well, which are more grabby hands, which is also really nice to have. And then he comes with a pair of just more relaxed hands, you know, more chill hands, and you can give each other high fives or stuff. I think that's really cool. If you're ever confused about like where some accessories go, he does come with a booklet that tells you what hands go with what, and you know, how to attach all these accessories together. And I think that's really, really cool to have. I love, you know, just that little, you know, because you can see that number 6 hand goes with G, and you there's really no way to tell. I don't think there's no way to like actually see what the number actually it does. Look at that. That is actually really cool. If it will focus in for a second. R7. I think that's really, really cool. So yeah, you just gotta look for the number and just kind of study the instructions a little bit. And yeah, you can easily, you know, be able to pose this figure. So the instructions are really important to have. So that's another accessory, I guess. So what we're gonna do now, well, sorry about that. There's like it's like in my throat and it's like wanting to come up, but like nothing's happening. So there we go. Just a tiny little cough. That's all I did. Anyways, we're gonna put the accessories onto the Doomslayer. Just the basic ones, because he is basically armless and he has no shoulder cannon. So we're gonna put all that on him, and then we'll take a look at the actual figure. What also I didn't mention is that he also does come with these little plugs at the end of his arm, so that you do take those off, and it's just kind of easier to just, I don't know why it's easier, but it's just nice to just kind of, you know, plug it into the actual arm itself. I mean, I guess you can kind of like, if you had little displays for your arms, you can kind of had it like, you know, displayed like that. I think that's really cool. Just something I wanted to mention. So here we have the Doomslayer himself out here, and he looks absolutely amazing. I love the way this guy looks. Everything about him just looks awesome at first glance. He just looks so cool. And what we're going to do is I'm going to show you something just real quick. He does come with two versions of the actual blade like we discussed, and they just plug in right into the hole right here. But for some reason, the unretracted one is just a little too loose, and I don't understand why. It was working a little bit for a while, but I don't know why it's not doing it now. The retracted blade actually fits in pretty snug. I guess just this one doesn't like, I don't know, it just doesn't want to stay as well as the other one, but I just kind of want to show you that. It's just a little problem with mine, hopefully not your guys's if you guys do decide to get this figure, but other than that, this figure is absolutely amazing. It's so cool. There are flaws with this figure, which we will discuss, but as of right now, the figure itself looks absolutely gorgeous. It is so cool to just look at. I have the neutral hands on right now, just to kind of, you know, get into the fun a little bit later on, but I think it looks so cool. All the way around, it's so cool. The paint job, I think they did a fantastic job with, and you know, I absolutely love the figure. So what we're going to do now is we're going to bring the figure just a little bit, you know, up close and personal, just a little bit. So starting off with the head sculpt. Oh, I love the head sculpt. I love the way it looks. It's so cool. It's so nicely detailed, and I just absolutely love the way it looks. And there goes the wrist blade. The wrist blade just decided to decide to leave. He does have the mark of the beast right onto his his helmet, which I love. The visor itself does look really cool. I'm trying to get this to focus perfectly, but yeah, that's perfect right there. But the visor itself does look nice. I love the way it's painted. I love that blue with, it's very nice. It's like kind of a blue-green, which I really do like. I kind of like the highlights at the edges too. And I love the gloss look to it. It does look like an actual visor. Just everything, the detailing is just so cool all the way around. And you can see that there's a lot more on the side. It looks pretty much like the helmet that you get with the collector's edition, which I really do like. And of course he has some shoulder pads here. The armor is iconic to me. Like, this is a beautiful looking armor that he wears in Doom Eternal, and definitely really, really cool. I do love all the little detailing. I love the mechanical bits. I think it's so cool. I love just like how kind of pointy he looks. It's sharp. He looks metal. That's basically what you're going for. Like, the Slayer looks metal, and I love the way it looks. He does have some little problems with kind of just posing. He does have some exposed joints, so if you kind of move these little shoulder pads out of the way, you can see that he's kind of got an ugly little gap right here, and especially if you kind of move the arm like this, you can see that it is just kind of, I guess, a little ugly looking. Same with the other side as well. There's really no avoiding that. That's just how he was made. But other than that, I think that it's fine. Honestly, for me, I can ignore it. What really you can't ignore that well, and you kind of got to admit that this is a little ugly, is this part right here, which I hear a lot of people complain about most of the time when I see reviews on this figure. But in the light, it really doesn't look bad on camera, but you can tell that the skin tone from the bicep and this little joint here is not the same color at all, and it just looks off, and it just looks funny looking. But really, honestly, I don't care. It looks awesome. I love the way this figure looks. He has got so much detailing that honestly, it's just, I think that it kind of distracts from that. But those are kind of little points taken away, because it does look a little funny when you really just start to notice it, especially if you have like the shoulder pad kind of like this, and there's this weird gap that's in between there. That's the only part that I have a problem with these joints here. I don't see how they could have done it better. Maybe like how they do it with normal figures, but I think that this is just fine as well. I know we're starting this a little early, but I want to start with doing the kind of the poses of the figure, showing the actual posability. That's what I'm trying to say. It took me a minute. So first of all, of course, you have a swivel here. He has two different types of points of articulation. He's got the ball joint at the head, and I think there's a ball joint at the base of the neck as well, which gives it some range of motion and definitely does extend his neck out a lot, which I think is really cool. But it can move back all the way to about there, and it does give some really nice depth to him. And he does have some head movement that goes about to there, and of course he's got some side to side as well. It's a very good range of posability. He does have a hinge joint at the shoulder pad, which is also on a ball joint. He has a hinge joint at the arm, which can rotate to about there. There we go. It rotates to about there, which I think is really nice. It is a squeaky joint too, so I think that's really, really cool. You can rotate it as well, but it's very, very creaky, so do keep in mind of that. He does have some movement here. Oh yeah, and then there's that. It's very easy to take the arms off, so I'm glad mine do stay on pretty well, but that's just kind of a problem. But he does have some up and down at the arm, which of course can be rotation, but I don't want to do that too much because it's very creaky. And of course he does have a butterfly joint on both arms, which I think is awesome. Definitely can get him into some really cool poses. That is on a swivel. He does have the kind of joint movement that goes about to there, and he does have a swivel here as well. He does have a hinge joint at the elbow pads, which I think is really cool. He does have the rotation at the arm, and I think there is a hinge joint as well which is also really nice. And he does have some posability at the waist, not the waist, that's like the stomach area. He does have some there, some at the waist as well, and he does have a very decent crunch and back movement, so he has a pretty nice range of top posability. He can spread to about that far. It's not too far, and that's kind of the limit I want to push it. He does have some rotation. They can extend out to about that far, which does look a little bit ugly from the back. Same here, there's like this gap right here if you're trying to do a crunch, which is kind of ugly, but you know. But he can move back about that far as well, which also gives it a gap. There's a lot of gaps on this figure that are going to look ugly, but what can you do, really? He does have a nice bend at the knee, a hinge joint at the knee pad, so if you do see this little gap, you can kind of close it up a little bit, and I think that kind of covers it as as good as it's going to get. He does have some rotation at the foot, which can do a decent little pivot. It's not that much of a pivot, but you know, it's whatever. Some up and down, and he does have a little bit of I think it's a hinge joint. Yep, it's a little hinge joint at this little piece of the foot as well. So for posability, it's really not that bad. So I want to get into like him having the accessories in his hand, and this is him with the BFG. Jesus Christ, that looks absolutely beautiful. And of course you can see that I have this going on. I still didn't put this on, which I'll probably do in the next segment. I'll put the regular blade on, but dang, this looks absolutely sick. I usually don't have them posed too crazily when I have them on display, but since I have a new little spot for them, which is going to be kind of right up here, I think that this is just awesome, and it's going to be hard to figure out what to have them displayed with, and I think that's the fun of figures like this. You always want to change how they're displayed and stuff with the amount of accessories, the posability. That's what makes a figure great, if you just keep going back to it, wanting to pose it so much more. And it is really fun to handle. Getting the actual BFG into his hand is not bad because the hands actually are a little bit rubbery. So, you know, I think the main problem was the thumb, but since it's rubbery, it's easy to kind of slide in there. And I think this just looks like this is beautiful. This is such a beautiful looking pose. And of course, having it with one hand really does, flop the hand around. So it's nice to have it with two different hands. I usually have this hand inside this little slot right here, but you can also have it down below as well. Next, we have the chainsaw look, and I think that this pose is really, really dope. I love the way this looks. It's so cool. Oh my gosh, it's so awesome. Definitely him with a chainsaw would definitely put Leatherface and Patrick Bateman to shame. Like, this is insane. I love the way this looks. So it's really cool. Just kind of discussing it really, really quickly. Is that the actual hand can go in between, the actual hook pieces here, but the hook pieces, they actually can extend apart, and you can slide the hand into it easy peasy and just kind of clip it back in. Would be really careful though, because it does seem a little flimsy, so I would just be really careful with doing it. But it is an awesome feature to just have to unplug this part, slide the hand in, plug it back in, and then pose them like that. But I think that this is just so awesome. Of course, you gotta pose them with the Crucible, and I think this is even more awesome. I love the way this looks. It is so cool. He can hold it pretty nicely. It is a little bit loose because, he definitely needs it with two hands to kind of properly hold it, but I think it works very well. And it's just so cool to see. Like, look how cool that is. I think that's really, really dope. Don't mind the dudes in the back. I think that this is super, super dope. I love the way that looks. And here is a great example of using the aerial poses, and this is so cool. Also using the blade as well onto the wrist. This is so cool, and I'm really tempted to leave him like this. This is such an awesome pose, and the stand itself is very nice to actually have him stay there properly without having it droop down. The joints on the stand is actually really impressive. I love this thing. This is such an awesome pose, and I love it. It's such an awesome figure. I don't know how to express that. Again, there are some things that not a lot of people like, but I think it's just awesome. But yeah, that is basically the Slayer. We'll do a little bit of a size comparison with the dudes in the back here, just to see how he stacks up to him. And yeah, I think we'll end the video there. So kind of starting off is the NECA Kratos next to the Figma Slayer. Kratos is definitely big. I don't know how tall actually Kratos is, but honestly I think that this is a pretty fair size, but you know, I still don't know. I know he's pretty tall, from what I remember. And yeah, I think this is a pretty dope look for them both. Next we have the Figma Reaper next to the Figma Slayer, and both of them from the same brand. Slayer is definitely taller than the Reaper, but I think they both look really nice together. It'd be kind of cool to actually try and see if I can display them both together. Now, I don't remember what toy brand this is, but this is Master Chief next to the Figma Slayer. Master Chief is definitely taller, and I think that is accurate too. I think the Chief is taller than the Slayer, but they both look awesome together. And last but not least, we have the McFarlane Doomslayer next to the Figma Doomslayer. Both of them look awesome. I think the McFarlane one has a much bigger presence, but I think with the amount of posabilities you can do with the Figma one, I think it blows the McFarlane one out of the water. And I think that, you know, the McFarlane one's more kind of statue-like. I think a lot of people are drawn more towards it just because of how big it is. But I think if you have your Slayer in a crazy pose, the Figma one can definitely top it. And I think that both of them are pretty decent figures, but I think if you want more range of motion with posing your figures and having something really cool to display on your shelf, I think the Figma one's the one to go. And that is that. I really hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. It was so much fun to make. I absolutely love this figure, and I don't know why I didn't review this guy sooner, but I'm so glad I did now. Definitely one to pick up. I would say if it is a bit pricey, but I think if you're a big fan of the Slayer, you would like this. But I know a lot of people don't, so I think it's just kind of up to you on whether or not you would want it or not. I personally am really happy with my purchase. I love messing around with them. I love having him displayed, changing his poses. I think it's so much fun, and I just love the little goodie bag that you get with the stand. I think it's all worth it to me. But let me know what you guys think. If you guys have this figure, definitely tell me what you guys think of it. But I think that's going to be it. It's been so long since I've actually done a Doom review. And yeah, this is just nice and refreshing to do. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys did enjoy it. And I will see you guys in the next one. Something I haven't said in a while. Keep slaying, keep on collecting, and I will see you guys in the next one.